There is one opinion I have of Stalker 2 that isn't really shared much. It's not something I've heard been brought up at all. Stalker 2 was not at all what I expected. And I'm not talking about the elephant in the room, where optimization. I don't have a big gripe on that. What I'm talking about is its story. When I would see the trailers back in 2021 through 2023, I had a completely different story in mind. I think it's pretty obvious that those earlier versions of Stalker 2, when it was coming out, had a completely different vibe from the Stalker 2 we have today. Today I'd like to explain what I mean on that, as I don't really like the story and pacing and atmosphere of the game we have today. So I think it's a good idea for me to go through the first gameplay trailer and explain what was going through my mind and what I thought the story was going to be at the time about Skiff. Why don't we start with the first scene, and then I'll go on from there. And then you decide whether I'm crazy or not for thinking this. First scene begins with a campfire full of stalkers. They all seem to know Skiff, and Skiff seems to have come back from a bad or really tough run, and they all seem to praise him. They're thankful for what he's done. Later we see his mission involved storming and raiding the chemical plant, which at the time of development was inhabited by bandits. That, or it was a placeholder for the ward at the time. The reason I value this scene so much is because in Stalker 2, our only interactions with groups are with one or two people that disagree, and that seems to be the same formula each time. But in this, we can see a sense of community with the stalkers. They all know Skiff. They all want to hear about what he's done. They know he's doing really dangerous things, and they're interested in it. The good thing about this is it keeps Skiff small. He's not immediately a pro or a badass. While he might be experienced off the bat, he still remains at the heart of stalkers and the community. He's not a superhero who just parades in the zone and just crusades the whole place. At first, I thought he was a hitman, and that was going to be the main plot of the game, where you see Skiff entering a really tough world and being forced to get his hands dirty despite wanting to give up a past like that. Not only that, but the other characters seem to have a lot to share. Their backgrounds, just from one scene or one dialogue, seem to show a lot of their past, and it grounds these characters way more. I feel I know these characters just off of this trailer way more than I know about Richter's life. Another cool idea about this is side quests could play a lot and be way more personal this way. Imagine you had a group of stalkers that you return to after every few main missions, and you explain and just offload all of it to them, and you hear their dialogue, whether they tell you, that you need to play it off, or, you're going through a lot, or, or offering you some help. That plus, if a character were to give you a side mission, imagine you went up to this campfire, you talk to each member, one of them's looking down, you ask him, is there anything you need help with? And then you get a side quest. Then you come back to him, he talks to you more about it, he explains how it affected him. The game is more personal this way, and it's way more immersive. I also got the impression that the game was going to be way more dark at the time. It looks very gritty and gray, and it's perfect, as this is a horrible, twisted world, and they're only resolved through it are these lone moments in the campfire. Now let's move towards the end, where we see the mysterious stranger who we later see to be S.T.A.L.K.E.R. This still would have worked with this ideology, as the end of the game could have been Skiff diving too deep, flying too close to the sun, finding out that he knows too much, and then that would be the end game. And then you have another perfect parallel to the original trilogy with S.T.A.L.K.E.R, as he discovered all this about the sea consciousness, and in each ending, he doesn't know what to make of it. He doesn't know if he made the right decision. He just knows the path he chose is what he chose, and it cannot be changed, and then he'll have to live with it for the rest of the game. Not only that, but I was so excited for the mysterious stranger. At the time, I didn't think at all that he was S.T.A.L.K.E.R. I thought he was a completely new person. My idea was either he was another agent, or he was another pro in the zone who was part of a secret faction. Especially with that whole Flash's Flicker rumor at the time. It really felt like there was going to be a new faction that was really secretive. Maybe they were a bunch of hitmen, or they controlled a lot of things in the background for the way zone politics worked. And in that way, it feels more personal instead of feeling like a superhero making giant decisions, being Master Chief saving the zone or changing the zone completely. I feel that was a completely missed opportunity. Something I really liked about this entire trailer was how mysterious it all was. Even the lab we saw offered no details into what went on down there, or what the story was going to pan out like. Even the whole thing with the Duga, which we never really got to see, it doesn't look like that in the final game. Though moments like that of just awe in the fact that you can't believe you're in a place like that was such a cool idea or concept in the trailer. And the way they kept everything mysterious on how you don't know what is going on at all, you just know it's happening and you're just involved into it, felt more Stalker than anything else. And I feel like that's completely missing in the new game, as every little lore detail, everything about sea consciousness, everything about the zone, everything about everything is explained to you on a silver platter if you just asked. I really don't like that. I believe in the show not tell ideology, but I also believe that you should not show that much. The less you show, the more content you have. The more you show, the less you have to show. I really hope that makes sense, and I hope I'm not just talking out of my ass with this. And I hope some of you could come to agree with me on this topic, as I have about 200 hours in the game right now, and I have been chasing that same feeling that I had when I watched the first trailer, and I have not felt it. All I hope is that these next patches and DLCs finally give me the Stalker feeling I've wanted. Thank you for watching, and fellow stalkers, good hunting.